I'm Linda van Tilburg for Biznews, and with me is Louis Nel, the CEO of the Manganese Mining Company, who is very much in demand right now, I hear, Louis. Welcome to Biznews.
Good morning, Linda, and good morning to your viewers.
So tell us about the Manganese Mining Company. What is your core business?
Yeah, thanks, Linda. I think core business is we're an electro-winning company, a chemical company that electro-wins manganese ore, and we produce a product called manganese metal, and that's a form of manganese that is 99.9% pure when we ship it, and of course the purest form of manganese that one could get your hands on. And 2024, exciting year for us. We opened our factory in 1974, and we have run uninterrupted for the last 50 years, so celebrating 50 years in 2024.
And I hear a lot of people have been knocking on your door. So tell us, are these the automakers from the West who are taking advantage of the fact that there's another company that's producing it outside China?
Yeah, I think the electric vehicle revolution is something which poses a lot of future prospects for us. It's over the last 10 years, we've seen quite a bit of our product basket migrate into the battery sales, specifically for lithium-ion batteries for the electric vehicles. And I think the prospects are really good. I think by anyone's guess, the next 10 to 20 years, we'll see exponential growth with electric vehicles. And yes, I think we're one of a handful of refiners of manganese outside of China. And as such, a lot of the Western producers are looking at decoupling from China, the reliance to source from China. And, then they are not spoiled for choice by looking for refined manganese.
And there are some other junior miners also coming up now, but they're not competition for you, are they?
I think you're quite correct. There's quite a few juniors that are raising capital and putting up demo facilities and making announcements. I think we are quite happy to cooperate with all those juniors, and I think what the world needs is more non-Chinese supply. Until that happens, and the world is, I think at the moment we're looking at about 95% of all refining happening in China of manganese. So unless we have more people refining outside of China, your OEMs are really dependent on China. So for us, we see these juniors coming up, and we're happy to cooperate with most, if not all of them, and we see that as healthy competition. But yeah, we are the current incumbent outside of China, and the 50-year track record, I think that puts us in a very healthy space.
But price-wise, you can't compete with China.
No, definitely not. I think China, the cost of capital, speed at which they're able to erect infrastructure and factories, their environmental and all other considerations, we quite right. We cannot compete with China on price. But I think there is a market for alternative to Chinese product, but that does come at a premium.
So what is your unique selling point that you're more ethical?
Yeah, I wouldn't go. We certainly run an ethical business, and we've been doing it for 50 years. If I had to say what our unique selling point is that I think we are a non-Chinese producer to start off with. And then unashamedly, we believe that we make the best manganese metal available globally. So our product is a 99.9% pure manganese metal. It is made with a process which does not contain selenium. Of course, most, if not all, the Chinese producers use selenium in their process, which gives them a significant energy benefit, probably about 30% more efficient in China due to the use of selenium. But the selenium, of course, is taken up in the product, and that makes its way through to the final product and as well as the production process. So we make the world's best manganese metal. We run it according to Western business principles. We carry stock in most of our geographical territories. and we have close relationships with our customers. So we do not sell exclusively via agents. We have a business-to-business marketing model. We our 120 customers, we understand what they use the product for, what they require, and we then tailor the product to the customer's needs. I think that's, of course, on the environmental side, we've been doing this for quite some time, and legislation in South Africa, of course, reasonably very strict, and certainly one could compare that to first world standards. So the environmental footprint that we leave certainly is one of the benefits when selling to Western world as well.
How much are you helped by legislation in the US?
Yeah, I think we've got two pieces of legislation which particularly relevant to our business. Historically, the African Growth and Opportunity Act has been important for us. We get a duty benefit shipping our manganese metal into the United States, and that does make us more competitive against China. So GOA important for us as a South African producer for our current product, and for our future participation into the lithium-ion battery space. Inflation Reduction Act in the United States is an important piece of legislation and a help for us as a producer. Of course, that is incentivizing the OEMs in North America to source non-Chinese or entities or countries of concern, to source the raw materials as well as the products from entities that China being one of them. So I think that piece of legislation and incentive in America certainly has a lot of upside for us as a non-Chinese producer. And then of course Europe very much in the same vein, looking at decoupling their reliance on China, and they're putting in legislation and measures to make sure that their borders are stricter controlled for material coming in from China.
So who are your clients now? Where do they come from?
So we've got clients in most of our customer base is situated in China. Big portion of our China, in Japan. So Japan are our biggest single trading partner, and followed by the United States and then Europe. But we sell into most territories, including China.
So when customers come to you, so they're prepared to pay more for this advantage that they don't have to buy from China.
Yeah, I think that is one of the reasons why they procure from us. I think MMC has been the pre-eminent supplier of refined manganese for many years. So we do come with the proud history, and I think companies that value that and value relationships and value the ability to receive product on time, according to specification in the packaging that they require, that's important to them, then they are prepared to pay premiums.
How are you dealing with the challenges of being in South Africa? In other words, the rail problems, Eskom?
Yeah, I think we are probably a South African company, and we've grown up in South Africa. So I think by definition, we're resilient to not have a perfect economic climate to operate in. And I think with the challenges, certainly doesn't make doing business easier. But I think we are coping, and we are learning that some things we just doesn't help complaining. We just need to get on with the task at hand. Good rail, as you mentioned, is maybe a good example. We were set up in 1974 as a purely rail operating for dependent business. So all incoming and outgoing logistics was rail based. We have operating in an active rail siding, but we haven't shipped or railed a single container post COVID to Durban, and currently most of our ore from Watersdal in the Kalahari is trucked on road. So not ideal for our road infrastructures of the country, and certainly not for the users of the roads, but as a business, that's what we need to do to keep going. We've significantly had to increase our stock holding in all critical materials. So we carry more stock than we traditionally did in just about all our reagents and raw materials. And we make plans as we go along.
To what extent did the South African government come to the party to help you, to keep you globally competitive?
Yeah, I think we are a product of government incentives. So in the early 70s, we were established in Nelspruit, especially because of incentives by government to promote business. We are a business that was started by funding from the IDC in the early 70s. So our history is tied to the IDC. Of course, over the last 10 years, very little support from government. I think the green economy is something which is getting more attention in the political arena in South Africa as it is globally. So we are seeing that the political players are starting to develop policy and frameworks around businesses that participate in that. And then, of course, MMC is a business that is already contributing in that space. So there's interest. I'd say there's interest rather than there's help.
So the South African government has said for years we should beneficiate, and you are exactly that. You refine and you beneficiate. So are you an example of what could be done in South Africa?
Yeah, I think we are proudly a South African company. For the last 13 years, we are privately held by South Africans, operate exclusively in South Africa at the moment. And yeah, we beneficiate 80,000 tons of manganese ore annually and create 600 jobs in Nelspruit. And of course, the impact is much larger if you look at inferred jobs being created. So I definitely think beneficiation is something which our government should promote. And I think it's one of the quickest ways of creating jobs and financial prosperity for the people of South Africa. So we certainly believe that beneficiation is something which we should look at. It's not easy. In many cases, beneficiation comes with the electricity bill, and Eskom is everyone knows what the Eskom challenges are. But there are opportunities, I still believe, to beneficiate in South Africa. And we continue to beneficiate for the next 50 years.
Are you a good example of how you should beneficiate?
I do believe we are, yes.
And has Tesla come calling?
We've signed many NDAs, and most of your pre-eminent automotive producers have come calling. So I'll leave it at that.
That sounds promising. So what kind of growth plans do you have?
Yeah, I think our growth plans, our traditional markets is in the steel and the aluminium businesses. And with those, I think we are comfortable with where we are at the moment. So we don't see particular growth in those spaces. About a quarter of our products has, over the last 10 years, made its way into the lithium-ion battery space for electric vehicles. And of course, there's huge growth potential in that space. We are looking at a brownfields expansion, 5,000 tons of manganese sulfate. That's a product which is similar to our, or the end product is similar to what they do with our manganese metal. And our intention is to start a 5,000 ton brownfields plant on our current footprint, utilizing all the infrastructure, all the legislation and permitting that is in place. So first expansion option is to venture into manganese sulfate, and from there to look at scaling that and see where that goes.
Well, Louis Nel, the CEO of the Manganese Metal Company, thank you so much for speaking to us.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Linda.